Smorgasbord Radio Show.
Welcome back to the SmorgShow podcast. This is episode 130, recorded December 11th, 2021. I'd like to dedicate this episode to Domenico DeFazio, my stepdad, who recently passed away unexpectedly while on a trip to Italy. And it has shaken our family quite a bit over these past several weeks. It was rather complicated to get him back here for the services that we just held this past Monday. So we haven't really been doing the podcast, if you can imagine. So we're going to close this year out by going into our archives. Exactly 10 years ago this month, we recorded It's a Wonderful Life. And it was probably one of the most elaborate productions our team has ever done for SmorgShow Theater. We've got, I think, 10 or 11 radio plays that we've done, complete with all the sound effects, music, etc. But this one really, I think, took it up a notch because of the number of people that had to be brought in and given a part. And it wasn't always possible to get people in the same room together at the same time. So lots of playing off of each other, but nobody to play off to because they're talking to a wall. And then just the mechanics of bringing it together. It was kind of draining in some ways, but it really has a special place in our heart, especially now because my stepdad goes by the name Mimmo for short, played Martini the bartender with the overemphasized New York Italian accent, which I think he pulled off just marvelously here. So I'm not going to ramble on much longer. Let's just go into this. This was originally aired back on episode 66. For those of you who are just finding the show, may not have gone through our archives, but this is sort of the thing we did a lot, pretty frequently back then. Every 6 months or so, we would come out with a radio show. And this one we always wanted to do, and I'm glad we did it. And looking at the number of people that were in this and the family members and the friends that were here, you never know when that might be your last visit. And we've lost our first cast member from this. So that's it. I hope you enjoy. And I hope we're back in full production in the new year. But this is a good way to close out this year on episode 130.
This is the story of George Bailey, citizen of Bedford Falls, New York. George Bailey, who, more than anything under the sun, wanted to see the world. The wonderful, exciting world that lay somewhere beyond the limits of his hometown. Oddly enough, this story does not begin in Bedford Falls. In fact, it doesn't begin anywhere in the world. It begins in heaven, where the superintendent of angels has just summoned an apprentice angel named Clarence.
Oh, I'm really going down to Earth, sir? Oh, how splendid.
Yes, there's a very discouraged man down there, Clarence. George Bailey. At exactly 10:45 p.m. Earth time, he'll be thinking seriously of ending his life.
Oh dear. Dear, his life.
Now, I want you to stop him if you can. Now, sit down, sit down. I'll give you Bailey's case history.
Sir, if I should accomplish my mission, may I perhaps get my wings? I've been waiting over 200 years now, and, well, people are beginning to talk.
Clarence, what's that book?
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, sir. I was reading it when you sent for me.
Oh, fine. Excellent. Well, you do a good job on George Bailey, and we'll see about your wings.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Now listen. When George Bailey was a boy, 2 events occurred that you should keep in mind. One was that his younger brother, Harry, fell through the ice and almost drowned. George saved him.
Brother fell through ice. George saved him.
Ever since, George has had a bad ear. All that icy water, you understand?
Bad ear. Yes, sir.
The other event came a few months later. George used to work after school in Mr. Gower's drugstore. One day, Mr. Gower's only son died of influenza. It was a terrible blow, and poor Mr. Gower tried to lose his grief in whiskey.
Where you been, George? Mrs. Blaine's called twice. What happened to her prescription? You lost it, didn't you?
No, Mr. Gower. Here it is.
Well, you're good for nothing. Don't you know the Blaine girl's very sick?
Mr. Gower, my ear. You're hurting my sore ear.
I'll teach you to lope, you lazy brat.
Mr. Gower, you don't know what you're doing. You put something wrong in those capsules.
Shut up!
Mr. Gower, look. This bottle you used, it's poison.
Poison?
Don't hurt my sore ear again, Mr. Gower.
Poison? Oh no, George! George!
It's why I didn't deliver, Mr. Gower. All I wanted was to make sure.
George! George!
Well, Clarence, that was George Bailey as a boy. When he grew up, he wanted to go to college, but there just wasn't the money. So he worked 4 years in the Building and Loan Association.
Building and Loan Association?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. George's father was in the building and loan business. He and George's Uncle Billy. High ideals and low bank account. Anyway, George worked for his father and saved enough to see him through the university. That summer, though, he was going to Europe. Got a job on a cattle boat. Do a little traveling before college.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's hard to realize it's my last night at the Bailey boarding house.
Well, we're sure gonna miss you, George.
Oh, I'm sure going to miss you too, Pop. Hey, what's the matter? You look tired.
Oh, I had another tussle with old Henry Potter today.
Oh? I thought when you put him on the board of directors, he'd ease up.
So did I.
I just can't understand a man like Mr. Potter. He can't begin to spend all the money he has.
I guess Potter owns about everything he wants in Bedford Falls, except our building and loan. That's why he hates us.
Hey, George, can I borrow your tuxedo studs?
Yeah, help yourself, Harry.
Well, where are they? In your suitcase?
No, I'm not taking a tuxedo in a cattle boat, you know.
Say, where'd you get that suitcase anyway?
Oh, Mr. Gower. Going away present. And one of these days, you're going to see that bag all covered with travel labels. Italy and Baghdad and Samarkand.
Gonna have a pretty full summer, huh?
I'm going to have a pretty full life.
Hey, why don't you come to the dance tonight?
What? And be bored to death?
Well, you couldn't want a better death. Lots of pretty girls. Hey, I gotta hurry.
I wish we could send Harry to college with you, George.
We've got all that figured out now, Pop. He'll take over my job at the building alone, work 4 years like I did, then he'll go.
He's pretty young for that job.
Well, no younger than I was.
Maybe you were born older, George.
Huh?
George, when you get out of college, I don't suppose you'd come back to the building and loan.
Oh, no. Now, Pop, I just couldn't. I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life at a shabby little office. Oh, I'm sorry, Pop. Now, I didn't mean that. But it's just this business of nickels and dimes. I'd go crazy. I want to do something big, something important.
In a small way, we are doing something important, George. In that shabby little office, we help people figure out how they can own their own homes.
I know, Pop. I just wish I felt that but I just feel like if I didn't get away, I'd bust.
You're right, boy. You get yourself an education. Then Get out of here.
Aw, Pop, you want a shock? I think you're a pretty great guy.
Well, thanks, George. I'm glad to hear it. Look, why don't you go on over to Harry's dance? You'll have a good time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll drop in. Yeah, maybe I will at that.
So George Bailey went to a dance. Is that important, Joseph?
Why, it was at the dance he met Mary Hatch.
Oh.
And 3 hours later, he was walking her home. George and Mary were feeling pretty good, Clarence. As a matter of fact, wonderful.
Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Buffalo gals, can't you come out tonight? And dance by the light of the moon.
Hot dog.
Beautiful.
Oh boy, just like an organ.
At least.
Gee whiz, hey, you know something? If it wasn't me talking, I'd say you were the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say it?
I don't know, maybe I will. Hey, how old are you anyway?
18.
18?
Too young or too old?
No, it's just right. Sort of fits you. Hey, look where we are.
Oh, the old Granville house.
Yeah, I gotta throw a rock.
Oh, no, George, no. I love that old house.
Well, don't you know about deserted houses? You know, you make a wish and then you throw a rock.
Oh, George, but it's such a lovely old place. I wish I lived there.
In there? I wouldn't live in it as a ghost. Now watch this. Here we go. How about it, huh? Pretty good shot, huh? Broke a window, huh?
What'd you wish for, George?
Oh, I don't know. Not just one wish. A whole hat full of them. Mary, I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. And then I'm coming back here and go to college and see what they know. And then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields and skyscrapers 100 stories high and bridges a mile long. And then I'm gonna... Hey, Mary, what is it you want? What do you want, huh? You want the moon? All you got to do is say the word.
Okay, the moon, I'll take it. Then what?
Then what? Well, then you could swallow it. And dissolve it like an aspirin, you know? And the moonbeams shoot out of your fingers and the ends of your hair. And the... Oh, you think I'm talking too much?
Yes, why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
How's that?
Youth is wasted on the wrong people.
Well, hey, just a minute, mister. Hey, you come on back here. I'll show you some kissing that's...
George!
Hey, Uncle Billy, look here. I'm gonna kiss Mary. Watch.
George, get in the car, quick! Your father's had a stroke.
What?
George, get in, hurry!
Well, George's father died that night, Clarence. So, of course, George couldn't go to Europe. But that fall, just as he was ready to leave for college, the directors of the building and loan had a meeting. They were going to appoint a successor to Mr. Bailey.
What was that you said, Mr. Potter?
I said as long as Peter Bailey's dead, let's dissolve the building and loan. We don't need it.
Now, wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute. Peter Bailey was not a businessman. Ideas without common sense can ruin a town. What do you get? A discontented, lazy rabble instead of a thrifty working class.
Now, hold on, Mr. Potter.
Oh, I meant no disrespect, George, but...
Now, wait a minute there. Why my father ever started this cheap penny-ante building and loan, I'll never know. But just remember this, Mr. Potter, this rabble you're talking about. They do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to have them work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? Anyway, my father didn't think so. People were human beings to him. But to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle. Well, in my book, Mr. Potter, he died a much richer man than you'll ever be.
I'm not interested in your book, George. I'm talking about the building and loan.
You're talking about something you can't get your fingers on, and it's galling. That's what you're talking about. Well, this town needs this measly one-horse institution, if only to have some place where people can borrow a few dollars without crawling to you. Now, come on, Uncle Billy.
What happened, George?
Yeah, all we heard was a lot of yelling.
Boy, oh boy, you should have heard George.
Yeah, they're in there voting us out of business.
Well, who cares? I can get another job. I'm only 41.
45.
Will you get out of here, George? You missed your boat trip. Do you want to miss college, too?
George, we just voted Potter down. We're still in business.
Whoopee! We're still in business. We're still in business.
But there's one condition, George. They appointed you to take your father's place.
Appoint me? But I'm going to college. Look, this is my last chance. Uncle Billy's your man.
George, you've got to take it. They'll vote with Potter otherwise.
I know. George Bailey didn't go to college.
That's right, Clarence. He gave his college money to Harry. Harry went instead.
But what happened to that good-looking girl? You know, Mary.
Oh, George saw her now and then. Not very often, though, because Mary went away to school, too. Anyway, George waited 4 years more for Harry to come back and take over the building and loan. He could still see the world. He planned to work in the oil fields, Venezuela. Except when Harry came home, he wasn't alone. There was a girl with him, his wife.
George?
Yeah, I'm out here on the porch, Mother. I just thought I'd get some air.
How do you like your new sister-in-law?
Oh, she's swell.
Looks like she can keep Harry on his toes.
Yeah. And keep him out of Bedford Falls, anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, Ruth's father, he's got a wonderful job for Harry up in Buffalo.
Buffalo? Well, that means you can't.
Yeah.
George, did you know Mary Hatch is back from school?
Yeah.
Nice girl, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stop grunting.
Well?
Give me one good reason why you shouldn't call on Mary.
Well, Sam Wainwright. Sam's crazy about Mary.
Well, she's not crazy about him.
Well, now, how do you know that? Did she discuss it with you?
Besides, Sam's away in New York.
Oh, it all's fair in love and war, huh? Uh-huh, I see. Okay, Mother. I think I should go out and find that girl and do a little passionate necking.
Oh, George.
Goodbye, Mrs. Bailey. By the way, you want any books at the library?
Library? George, you go and see Mary. Do you hear?
George, is that you out there?
Oh, hello, Mary.
Well, are you coming in?
I just happened to be passing by here and...
Oh, I thought you were picketing. Have you made up your mind?
How's that?
Have you made up your mind?
About what?
About coming in. Your mother just phoned. She said you were coming over.
My mother? Just phoned? What you mean coming? I just happened to be passing by, that's all. I didn't.
Well?
Well, all right, I'll come in for a minute. But I didn't tell anybody I was coming here. Fella can't go out for a walk nowadays without... When did you get back?
Tuesday.
Ah, where'd you get that dress?
Do you like it?
Well, it's all right.
Well, no point standing here on the porch. Come on in.
I still can't understand it. I didn't tell anybody I was coming here, you know?
Would you rather leave?
Well, no. I don't want to be rude. I'll sit down for a while.
It's nice about your brother and Ruth, isn't it?
Yeah. That's all right.
Well, don't you like her?
Well, of course I like her. She's a peach.
Oh. Just marriage in general you're not enthusiastic about,
No. Marriage is all right for a lot of people. It's all right for Harry, Sam Wainwright, and you.
For Sam?
Mary?
It's George Bailey, Mother.
George Bailey? What's he want?
I don't know. What do you want?
Me? Not a thing. Not a thing. I just came in to get warm.
He's making violent love to me, Mother.
You just tell him to go right back home. Sam said he'd call you tonight from New York, didn't he?
I guess so. How about some music?
Your mother needn't... I didn't need to come here.
What did you come here for then?
I don't know. You're supposed to be the one with all the answers. You tell me.
Oh, why don't you go home?
I don't know why I came here in the first place. Good night.
Good night.
Mary, telephone. Mary.
The way you're shouting, you think that...
Mary.
You'd think what?
Mary.
All right, I'll get it. George, on your way out, would you mind turning off the phonograph?
I'd be very happy to. Doggone crazy song.
Hello? Sam?
Mary, gee, it's good to hear your voice.
How are you, Sam?
I forgot my hat.
Hee-haw.
What?
Oh, I was just talking to an old friend of yours, George Bailey.
Old Mossback George?
Old Mossback George.
Well, put him on. I'll talk to him, too.
Wait a second. George.
He doesn't want to speak to George.
He does so. He asked for him.
Did you call me? Because if you did, I'm in a hurry.
Sam wants to talk to you.
Oh? Hiya, Sam.
Hey, fine pal you are trying to steal my girl.
What do you mean? Nobody's trying to steal anybody's girl. Here, Mary, take the phone.
No, wait, George. I want to speak to you both. Tell Mary to get on the extension upstairs.
He says for you to get on the extension upstairs.
I can't. Mother's on the extension.
I am not.
We can both hear, George. Just put your head a little closer.
What?
There. That's better. We're listening, Sam.
Well, I have a big deal coming up that's going to make us all rich. George, you remember the time that you told me about making plastics out of soybeans?
Soybeans? Yeah, soybeans, yeah.
Well, my father's checked into it, George, see? And now he's going to put up a factory. How do you like that?
Factory, huh?
And here's the point, George. I may have a job for you. Unless you're still married to that broken down building and loan. Oh, Mary?
I'm here.
You tell that guy I'm giving him the chance of a lifetime, you hear?
He says it's a chance of a lifetime.
Give me that phone.
Here's George again, Sam. George!
Now, you listen to me, Mary. I don't want any plastics, and I don't want any job, and I don't want to get married ever to anybody. Do you understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you're not going to trick me. And you're... Mary.
George.
Mary. Oh, Mary, darling.
Well. So George Bailey and Mary Hatch were...
Yes, George and Mary were married. And they started off on their honeymoon in Ernie Bishop's taxicab.
Hey, where were you two going on this here now honeymoon? We're gonna shoot the works, Ernie. A whole week in New York. A whole week in Bermuda. The highest hotel, the oldest champagne, the hottest music, and the prettiest wife. Ha ha! So you are finally getting out of Bedford Falls, eh? Then what? Then what, honey?
After that, who cares?
That does it. Hey, you know, Mrs. Bailey, I haven't kissed you yet. Hey, George, there's something funny going on over there. Look over there at the bank. It looks like a run. Pull over there a minute, will you, Ernie?
George, let's not stop, please. Let's just go straight to the station. Please, George.
Now, wait a minute. Better see what it is. I'll be right back.
George, please. George!
Poor George Bailey. Oh, he's certainly in desperate trouble, Joseph. I'll go to him at once.
Now, you sit down, Clarence, sit down. We're nowhere near the point where George Bailey is thinking of taking his life.
We're not?
Now, where were we? Yes. George and Mary had just started out on their honeymoon when they ran smack into the financial panic of 1932. In the waiting room of the building and loan, 100 frantic people were clamoring for their savings.
Hey, what's going on, Uncle Billy? What's happened? All those people out there.
This is a pickle, George. All I know is the bank called our loan an hour ago. I had to hand over all our cash.
Holy mackerel.
Whole town's gone crazy. Bank's in the same spot we are.
Our charter.
What about our charter?
Our charter says we have to stay open until 6 p.m. The state can take away our license if we don't.
How can we stay open till 6 without any money? George, where are you going?
Out to talk to those people. Come on. Now, please. Now, please, folks. Now, just a minute.
Where's our money, George? Where's our money?
Now, come on now, please. Now, wait a minute now. Listen to me now. You're thinking of this place all wrong. Your money's not here. What? Wait a minute now. Let me tell you. Your money's in other people's houses. In the Kennedy house, in the Clarendon house, and in your house, and 100 others. Now, what are you going to do? Foreclose on them? I got $240 in shares. Now let me have it. All right, Charlie. Now you'll get your money in 60 days. 60 days? Now look, that's what you agreed to when you bought our shares.
I got my money. Where? Old man Potter's taking over the bank. He'll pay you 50 cents on every dollar.
Then let's take our shares to Potter. Half is better than nothing. Wait a minute, folks. Please, I beg of you not to do this. If Potter gets a hold of your shares, he'll be owning this building alone. He's got the bank, he's got the bus line, he's got the department stores. Now he's after us because he wants to keep you living in his shacks and paying the kind of rent he decides to charge. Now we can get through this thing all right, but we've got to stick together. We've got to have faith in each other.
My husband's out of work. We need money.
I got doctor bills to pay.
I can't feed my kids on faith.
Me too.
What about that, George?
Yeah.
How much do you need? We've still got some money.
Hey, Mary!
Here it is, George. You told me to hold on to it. It would have made a nice honeymoon. Even bought some furniture, too.
Hey now, wait a minute. Listen, folks, listen. I got $2,000. All right, Charlie, how much do you need? $240. Now, Charlie, listen. Now listen. Just enough to tide you over.
I said $240.
Okay. Uncle Billy, give Charlie $240. All right, Ed. Now, how much just to get by? $20, I suppose. Now you're talking. Mrs. Thompson, how about you?
$20 will do me.
Good, $20. All right, who's next?
Look at the clock. Look.
5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. 6 o'clock! We made it! Lock that door, Eustace, quick! Boy, we're still in business, Uncle Billy. We even got $2 left.
George, there's a call for you.
Okay, then call my wife, will you? She's probably over at Mother's.
Mrs. Bailey's on the line.
I don't want Mrs. Bailey, I want my wife. Mrs. Bailey, that's my wife. Give me the phone, will you? Hey, Mary. Listen, Mary, I'm sorry, I... Come home. Well, what home? 323 Sycamore. Well, whose home is that? What? Well, Mary, how could I... Well, sure, all right. Sure. I'll be there.
Clarence, guess what 323 Sycamore was?
His mother-in-law's house, huh?
Oh, no. Number 323 Sycamore was the old Granville house, the one George threw rocks at and made wishes. Yes, sir. That's where they spent their honeymoon. That's where they started housekeeping. They were still living there 2 years later when Old Man Potter asked George to stop over at his office.
Sit down, George. Sit down. Have a cigar.
Well, thank you, sir.
Now, George, you're a young man. Married, making, say, $40 a week at the building alone?
45.
45. Now, if you were some ordinary yokel, I'd say you were doing fine. But George Bailey's intelligent, ambitious. He hates the building and loan almost as much as I do. He's been dying to get out of town ever since he was born. But he's trapped. Trapped into frittering his life away, playing nursemaid to a lot of garlic eaters. Do I paint a correct picture, George, or do I exaggerate?
Well, what's your point, Mr. Potter?
My point is that you're the only man in town who's licked me. George, I want to hire you. Manage my affairs. I'll start you off at $20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year? Are you sure you're talking to me? I'm George Bailey, don't you remember me? The building and loan, remember?
Yes, George Bailey, whose ship has just come in, providing he has enough sense to climb aboard.
Well, but what about the building and loan?
Confound it, man. I'm offering you a 3-year contract at $20,000 a year. Is it a deal or isn't it?
No. The answer's no, doggone it. If you offered me $1 million to stay around this town and play stooge to you, the answer'd still be no. Now let me alone. Don't bother me.
George, what did Mr. Potter want?
I don't know. It was nothing. Aw, gee, Mary Hatch. Mary, why in the world did you ever marry a guy like me anyway?
To keep from being an old maid.
I was going to see the world. I was going to build things. I was going to give you the moon. What have I given you? What have I given you? Not even a new dress, not for months. Oh, gee whiz, I feel awful.
So do I. Mornings especially.
You could have married Sam Wainwright, anybody else in town.
I didn't want to marry anybody else in town. I want my baby to look like you.
You didn't even have a honeymoon, and I promised you that... You what?
My baby.
You mean... Hey, Mary, you mean you're on the nest?
Well, Mary had her baby, Clarence. A boy.
You don't say.
Then she had another one, a girl.
Well, what do you know?
Night after night, George had come home late from the office. Things weren't good with the building and loan. Potter was really bearing down on him. Then came the war. Mary had another baby by then.
Oh.
But she still had time to help out in USO. Uncle Billy sold war bonds, and George's brother Harry became a real hero, shot down 15 planes.
But George, what about George?
Well, George was 4F, his bad ear. He was an air raid warden. On VE Day, he wept and prayed. On VJ Day, he wept and prayed again.
We're getting pretty close to today, aren't we, sir?
Yes, Clarence. You know now almost everything you need to know about George Bailey, except what happened that finds him down there at this moment, wanting to die.
Well, sir? Well?
Well, today's the day before Christmas, or Earth time. George is pretty excited.
Hey, Tilly, Eustace, come here. Look at the newspaper. Commander Harry Bailey, decorated by the President. That's my kid brother, the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Gosh, George, gosh.
What do you think about that? 15 Jap planes and the last one he got just about to dive into a transport loaded with soldiers. You know what that means? He saved lives, hundreds of lives. Hey, gee whiz, where's Uncle Billy?
Gone to the bank, George.
Oh.
He's depositing that $8,000.
Good, good, good. Who's that in his office there?
It's that man again, the bank examiner.
Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Carter. Hey, Tilly, get the books for Mr. Carter, will you? You know, that's my brother's picture there, Mr. Carter. He shot down 15 planes, and one of them was about...
Well, Mr. Henry F. Potter, come to the bank to deposit some more loot, eh?
Look out, you old fool.
How'd you like the news in the paper, Mr. Potter? Just can't keep those Bailey boys down now, can you?
Huh? Let me see that newspaper. Here.
Sorry I can't chat, you old thief. Gotta make a deposit. Here you are, horse. Deposit slip, bank book, and a very Merry Christmas to you.
You too, Mr. Bailey. Say, you've forgotten something, haven't you?
Horse, I've forgotten things all my life.
Get a wheel on, boy.
But Mr. Bailey, where's the money?
What? What's that?
You want to make a deposit?
Well, certainly I want.
Well, it's customary to bring the money with you.
It's gone. Where'd I put it? Where'd I put that money?
A terrible thing, Clarence, terrible. Uncle Billy couldn't find the money because the envelope with the $8,000 was folded up in that newspaper he gave to Old Man Potter.
I just don't know what happened to it, George. I just don't know.
$8,000, Uncle Billy! The examiner's here and it's not our money! It belongs to the depositors!
George, what? What are we gonna do? We've traced every step I took. We can't stand here in the street.
Are you sure you didn't put that envelope in your coat pocket?
I think so. Maybe. Oh, I'm no good to you, George. I'm no good.
Now listen to me. Think. Think, will you? Now try and think.
I can't think anymore. I can't.
Where's that money, you silly old fool? You know what this means? It means bankruptcy and scandal and prison. One of us is going to jail. Well, it's not going to be me. Now get out of my way. I'm going home.
George, dear, what's wrong? You haven't said a word since you came home.
With that banging on the piano, does she have to just keep playing that same piece over and over and over again?
I have to practice for the Christmas party, Daddy.
What is it, dear? Another hectic day?
Yeah. Another red letter day for the Baileys.
Dad, the Murphys got a brand new car. You should see it.
Well, what's the matter with our car? Isn't it good enough for you?
I'm sorry, Dad. I only...
Run upstairs, Petey. See if Zuzu's all right.
Okay, Mom.
Now, what do you mean? And see if Zuzu's all right. What do you mean?
Oh, she caught a little cold coming home from school. She didn't button up her coat.
Well, what is it? What do you mean by just a cold?
George, the doctor said it was nothing serious.
The doctor? Was the doctor here?
Well, I thought he'd better look at her.
It's this drafty old house. No wonder we don't all have pneumonia. Might as well be living in a refrigerator. Why did we have to live here in the first place and stay around this measly, crummy old town?
George, what's happened?
Everything's happened. You call this a happy family? Why did we have to have all these kids?
Daddy, how do you spell frankincense?
Oh, I don't know how you... Why don't you ask your mother?
Where are you going?
Upstairs to see Zuzu.
Hello? Oh, thank you, Mrs. Welch. I'm sure she'll be all right.
Who's that?
Zuzu's school teacher. What? Oh, yes, the doctor says she'll be fine tomorrow.
Here, give me that phone.
George, please.
Hello, Mrs. Welch? This is Mr. Bailey. Say, what kind of teacher are you anyway? What do you mean sending Zuzu home like that half naked? Do you realize you'll probably end up with pneumonia just because of your stupidity? You know, maybe my kids aren't the best dressed kids in town, but at least... Hello? Hello? Janie, will you stop playing that lousy piano? Now cut it out! Stop it!
George, for heaven's sakes, what's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, Janie. I'm sorry, Mary. I've just got to get out of here.
So that's it, George. You're short $8,000 in your accounts, eh?
Please, Mr. Potter. I'll pay any sort of a bonus. If you still want the building and loan,
You say it was lost. Have you notified the police?
No, sir, I haven't done that yet. Harry's homecoming tomorrow.
Why come to me? What about your good friend Sam Wainwright?
I can't get a hold of him. He's in Europe.
What kind of security would I have, George? What collateral?
Yes, sir. I have some life insurance here. $15,000 policy.
What's your equity in it?
$500.
And you want $8,000? You once called me a warped, frustrated old man. Well, what are you but a warped, frustrated young man, crawling on your hands and knees for help? Why don't you go to the riffraff you love so well? Ask them for help.
I'll do anything, Mr. Potter, please. Please help me, my wife and kids.
I'm calling the district attorney. $500. You know something, George? You're worth more dead than you are alive. Now get out of here. Get out!
And all the time, Potter had the $8,000 in his desk drawer. It's still there, Clarence.
But where is George, sir? Where?
Well, he went over to Martini's cafe. He's had a couple of drinks, Clarence. He's just standing there, sort of in a daze.
Oh, God. God, dear Father in heaven. I'm not a praying man, but if you're up there and you can hear me, please show me the way. I'm at the end of my rope. Show me the way, God.
Mr. Bailey, you all right? Don't drink anymore. Mr. Bailey, please. You don't feel good.
Bailey? Did you say Bailey? Which Bailey?
This gentleman is Mr. Bailey, George Bailey.
George Bailey, huh? And the next time you talk to my wife like that, you'll get worse. It isn't enough she slaves teaching your stupid kids how to read and write. You gotta ball her out.
Hey, you get out of here. Mr. Welch, you hit my best friend. Get out.
All right, I'm going.
Mr. Bailey, are you okay?
Who was that?
Mr. Welch. But don't worry, he don't come in this place no more. I'll get something for your face. It's bleeding.
Leave me alone.
Please, don't go away, Mr. Bailey.
Leave me alone.
Don't go away.
Well, George left Martini's cafe 5 minutes ago, Clarence. He's at the river now, on the bridge, looking at the water. Are you ready, Clarence?
All ready, sir.
Very well. Save George Bailey's life and you'll get your wings.
My wings? Oh, thank you, Joseph. George! George Bailey! Get away from that bridge! Do you hear me, George? George!
Numb with despair, convinced, as Mr. Potter said, that he's worth more dead than alive, George Bailey stands on a bridge, staring at the dark and frigid waters below. Suddenly, there's a splash.
Help! Help! I'm drowning! Oh, help!
No, that's not George. It's Clarence, the apprentice angel. And there goes George in after him. It's a few minutes later now, and in the bridgekeeper's shack, George and Clarence are drying off.
You both sure you're all right? You want a doctor?
No. I'm all right. I'm all right.
Oh, I'm fine. This underwear, I didn't have time to get anything more stylish. My wife gave me this on my last birthday. I passed away in it.
You what, mister?
Oh, I see Tom Sawyer's drying out too.
Ooh.
My book. I left in such a hurry. I brought Tom Sawyer with me.
Hey, how did you happen to fall in?
Oh, I jumped in. I jumped in to save you.
Jumped in to save me?
Well, I did, didn't I? You didn't go through with it, did you?
Go through with what?
Suicide.
Hey, it's against the law to commit suicide around here.
Yeah, it's against the law where I come from, too.
Where do you come from?
Heaven.
Oh, that's very funny. Very funny.
Your lip's bleeding.
Yeah. I got a bust in the jaw, in answer to a prayer.
Oh no, George. I'm the answer to your prayer.
Hey, how do you know my name?
Oh, I know all about you.
Well, who are you supposed to be anyway?
Clarence Oddbody, AS2.
Clarence Oddbody. Yeah, what's the AS2 for?
Angel, second class.
Hey, I'm getting out of here. You may not need a doctor, but I do.
Cheerio, my good man.
Hey, look here. Why'd you want to save me?
Because I'm your guardian angel, George.
Oh, I see, Well, you look like about the kind of angel I'd get. So, what happened to your wings?
I haven't won my wings yet. That's why I'm an angel second class.
Oh, I see.
But you can help me earn them, George, by letting me help you.
Oh, Don't happen to have $8,000 on you, do you?
Oh, no. We don't use money in heaven.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting. I see. Well, comes in pretty handy down here, bub.
Oh, tut.
Of course, I found it out a little late. You know, I'm worth more dead than alive.
You mustn't talk like that. Joseph will never give me wings if you keep feeling that way. You just don't realize what you've done for your folks. Why, if it hadn't been for you...
Yeah, if it hadn't been for me, everybody'd be better off. My wife, and my kids, and my friends.
Oh, this is not going to be easy.
They'd all be better off if I hadn't been born.
What did you say?
I said I wish I'd never been born.
George, that's wonderful.
Wonderful? What?
The idea you just gave me. Well, you got your wish. You've never been born.
I've never been born?
Exactly. No worries, no $8,000 to get, nothing. You simply don't exist.
All right. Okay, all right.
George, I can do things. Strange things. I can show you the world, George, the way it would be if you hadn't been born.
Hey, wait. Wait a minute. This ear of mine. Say something else in that bad ear.
You don't have a bad ear anymore. I don't think you're concentrating. Don't you see? You're not the George Bailey you think you are. You're nobody.
Well, that's the doggonest thing I ever... That ear.
Your lips stopped bleeding too.
Yeah. Hey, what's been happening around here? What is this anyway? I need a drink. That's what I need. What about you, Angel? Want a drink?
Well, I don't quite know.
Come on. We'll go as soon as our clothes are dry.
Clothes are dry, George.
Hey, so they are. That's funny. Well, look, let's get dressed and we'll stroll over to Martini's. And then... excuse me. I mean, I'll stroll, you fly.
No. I don't have my wings.
Oh, that's right. You don't have your wings yet. That's right. I forgot again. Couple of drinks and we'll both fly, huh?
What'll you have, fellas?
Hey, where's the boss? Where's Martini?
Look, wise guy, I'm the boss, see?
Okay, well, double scotch. Quick, will ya?
What's yours?
You know what I just love? Some mulled wine.
Huh?
Heavy on the cinnamon and light on the cloves. Off with you, my lad, and lively now.
Now, cut it out.
Oh, come on here. Just give him the same as I ordered. He's okay.
Yeah. 2 double scotches.
What about this place? It's all changed.
All of Bedford Falls has changed. You're having your wish, George. You've never been born. Oh, there'll be lots of things you've never seen before. Oh, good. Somebody just made it.
Made what?
Every time a bell rings, it means some angel's got his wings.
What'd you say?
Look, Clarence, I don't think you better be talking about any angels around here.
Don't they believe in angels?
Oh, yeah, they believe in them, but, it's just,
Then why should they be surprised when they see one?
Don't mind him, bartender. He's just a little fella. He just never grew up. How old are you anyway, Clarence?
Well, next May I'll be 293.
That does it. A couple of pixies, eh? Go on, get. Do you hear me? Get.
Where's Martini? Will you call him?
Stop asking about Martini. He ain't here, and he... Hey, you, Rummy. Didn't I tell you never to come panhandling around here?
George, look.
It's Mr. Gower. Mr. Gower! Listen, Mr. Gower! Don't you know me? This is George Bailey.
You buy me a drink, mister. Just one drink, will you, mister?
Pinky?
Yeah, Nick?
Throw the Rummy out.
Oh, no, please.
Hey, bartender, that's Mr. Gower, the druggist.
That rumhead spent 20 years in jail for poisoning some kid. If you know him, you must be a jailbird yourself. Pinky, here's 2 more. Get him out of here.
Get up, George. Good thing he threw us in a snowbank, huh?
Where's Mr. Gower?
Mr. Gower doesn't know you, George. You see, you weren't there to stop him from putting poison into that prescription.
What do you mean I wasn't there? Look now, tell me, what are you? Are you a hypnotist?
George.
Look, why am I seeing all these strange things here?
Don't you understand? It's because you were not born.
Well, if I wasn't born, then who am I?
Nobody. You have no identity.
What do you mean I have no identity?
No papers, no driver's license, no 4F card, no insurance policy.
Zuzu's bell! Zuzu's bell!
What?
Zuzu's bell! I bought my little girl a bell to hang on the Christmas tree, and I forgot to give it to her. I've got it wait, it's gone. It's gone too. Everything's gone.
But you've been given a great gift, George. A chance to see what the world would be like if you had never been born.
You're crazy. You're as crazy as a bedbug, and you're driving me crazy, too. Now, look, I'm going home to my wife and my family. Don't you understand that? And I'm going home alone.
Look, I'm giving out wings. Better not leave him alone, Clarence. Keep following him.
Joseph! Oh, I'll stay near him, sir. Poor George, he's seeing Main Street now. The way it'd be if he hadn't lived. The thing that's really shocked him, sir, is the building and loan office. Know what's there now? Pawn shop.
What's he doing? Can you see?
He's talking to Ernie Bishop, the taxi driver. He wants to go home.
You'd better tag along, Clarence.
Oh, I will, sir. I will.
Come on, step on it, will you, Ernie? Get me home. I'm off my nut.
Where do you live, buddy?
Oh, now, doggone it, Ernie. Don't you start pulling that stuff on me. 323 Sycamore.
323 Sycamore?
Yeah, hurry up. Zuzu's sick.
Okay, buddy.
Hey, look, Ernie. I don't know what's happening. I'm going crazy or something. I've got some bad liquor. Now, tell me this now. You're Ernie Bishop, right? And you live with your wife and kid down in...
You've seen my wife?
What do you mean, seen your wife? I've been in your house 100 times. We built it for you, didn't we?
But my wife took the kid and ran away 5 years ago. And I ain't never seen you before in my life, see?
Okay, Ernie, okay. Okay, just step on it. Get me home. Mary, where are you? Janie, Petey, Zuzu. Zuzu, where are you?
This is just an old abandoned house, George. You have no wife, no children.
Where are they? What have you done with them?
There you are, Bert. That is him, see? I told you so.
All right, up with your hands.
Oh, Bert! Bert the cop! Thank heaven you're here!
Now look, why don't you be a good fella and I'll take you to a doctor.
Bert! Now, Bert, listen to me. What's the matter with you guys? Now listen, it's that fellow there. He says he's an angel. He tried to hypnotize me.
I hate to use my nightstick, but I guess Oh!
Run, George, run! He can't while I'm biting him.
Ow!
George, run! My teeth aren't what they used to be. Joseph, help me! Joseph! Joseph!
Where'd they go, Ernie? Where'd they go?
I don't know. They just disappeared.
Clarence?
Oh, Joseph. I hope you don't mind my calling on you like I did.
It was very irregular, Clarence. You're by yourself again. Where's George?
He's at his mother's house, sir.
Well, if George hasn't been born, he has no mother.
Oh, he's being very stubborn, sir. He'll just have to find these things out for himself.
But his mother, that's a terribly bitter blow to a man. His own mother not knowing him.
You mean I shouldn't have let him?
I mean, you'd better find him right away. Oh, and stop biting policemen, Clarence.
I'm here again, George.
My own mother didn't know me. If only Harry were here. My brother were only back from Washington.
Your brother fell through the ice and was drowned at the age of 9.
That's a lie. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died. Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives. Harry wasn't there to save them because you weren't there to save Harry. Don't you see, George? You really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away?
Clarence!
Yes?
Where's Mary? Please, where's my wife?
I'm not supposed to tell.
Tell me where she is!
You're not going to like it, George.
Where is she? I'll choke it out of you if I have to. Where's my wife?
The library. She works there. She's just about to lock up for the night. So George! George, come back! Oh, there must be some easier way for me to get my wings.
Mary! Mary!
I'm sorry, the library's closed.
Mary, it's George. Don't you know me?
No, I don't know you. Let me go.
Mary, please don't do this to me. Mary, please, help me. Help me. Where's our kids, Mary? I need you. Mary, please.
Get away from me. Help.
Help me, Mary. I'm George. Mary.
Help.
Clarence?
Oh, where is he, Joseph? Where's George? I'm afraid I've lost him, sir.
You knew you shouldn't have let him try to see Mary. Now they're after him, a mob. They think he was trying to hurt her.
Joseph, I won't even get one wing, will I?
You have one more chance, Clarence. Get over to the bridge by the river. I think George has seen just about enough.
But the mob!
Don't worry. They've lost him too. Now, hurry up.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. Thank you.
Clarence? Clarence! Clarence, where are you?
I'm here, George.
Help me, Clarence. Help me get back. I don't care what happens to me. Only get me back to my wife and my kids, please. I want to live again. Please help me live again.
Oh, thank you, George. Thank you, Lord.
I want to live again. Please. Oh, God, let me please live again.
George? Is that you down there, George?
Now get out of here, Bert. Get out of here. You come any closer and I'll let you have it.
What the Sam Hill are you yelling for, George?
Come on, George? George? Bert, do you know me?
Know you? I've been looking all over town for you. Where have you been?
Hey, Bert! Bert! I'm alive again! Bert!
You sure you're all right? Hey, your mouth's bleeding.
It is? Hey! My mouth's bleeding! Bert, look! Look at the blood coming out of there, would you? Oh, hey! Where's Zuzu's Christmas bell? Bert! I had it here right in my pocket! Here it is! Hey, it's in my pocket! What do you know about that? Hey, Merry Christmas, Bert!
Well, Merry Christmas! Get in the car, I'll drive you home.
You will, Bert? Well, do that. And turn the siren wide open, huh? Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls! Hey! Merry Christmas, old building alone! Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter!
And a Happy New Year to you in jail!
Yee-hee! Come on, Bert, come on. Come on with me, all right? What? What's with all these people? These reporters. What? Hey! Merry Christmas, reporters! Hey, Mr. Bank Examiner, Merry Christmas!
Mr. Bailey, there's a deficit.
I know. About $8,000, I bet, huh? Hey, George, I got a little paper here for you. I'm sorry. I'll bet it's a warrant out for my arrest. Isn't that wonderful? Merry Christmas. Hey, where's Mary, you know? Oh, look at this wonderful old drafty house. Isn't it wonderful? Have you seen my wife? Where's Mary? Kids! Hey, kids! Janie, Petey! Oh, I could eat you up. Where's your mother?
She went looking for you, Daddy, with Uncle Billy.
Daddy!
Zuzu! My little ginger snap. How do you feel, huh?
Fine, Daddy. Not a smidge of temperature.
Not a smidge of temp. Hallelujah!
George, darling.
It's Mommy. Mommy's home.
Mary!
George, where have you been?
Mary!
Oh, George.
Mary, just let me touch you. Oh, you're real, Mary. Oh, you have no idea what's happened to me.
Oh, you've no idea what's happened either. They're on their way here.
Who? Who's on their way? It's the police department. The FBI? The National Guard? I'm alive again, Mary. Oh, listen, Mary. I'm alive again.
Oh, yes, darling. Yes, now, close your eyes and come on downstairs.
What is it? Can I open my eyes yet, Mary? What's going on here?
Now, keep your eyes closed. Now, I'll just walk you over here by the Christmas tree and...
Well, there's people. I hear lots of people. What is it?
Just 1 minute now. We're all ready. Uncle Billy, come in, everybody.
George, look! Just look!
Uncle Billy!
Money, George! A laundry basket filled with money! Money for you!
I don't understand. What money? What?
People heard you were in trouble, darling. These people, your friends. They've collected this money for you. The $8,000.
Charlie, wait! There's Martini! And Mr. Gower! Hey, how are you, Mr. Gower? Mrs. Thompson! Ed, Tom, everybody!
None of us would have a roof over our heads if it wasn't for you, George.
Gosh, this is wonderful. Hey, Mary, look! Look who's coming in! Mother! Hi, Mother! Hey, it's Harry!
Got Mary's telegram, George. I flew in as fast as I could.
Hey, everybody! A toast! How about a toast?
Good idea, Ernie. A toast to my big brother, George, the richest man in town.
Daddy, my Christmas bell. You didn't forget?
Forget? Here, honey. Here's your bell.
Daddy.
Darling, what's this on the table here? What's this book?
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Look, there's something written in it.
Dear George, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Thanks for the wings. Love, Clarence.
Clarence?
Yeah, it's a very dear friend of mine.
Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right, Zuzu. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence. Attaboy, Clarence. Happy landings.